Good evening, everybody, and welcome to E+ TV6 coverage of Union University basketball. I'm Alexander Bitterling, and tonight I have the honor of being joined by Mr. Steve Beverly, the legendary Union broadcaster and recent Hall of Famer.
I knew you were going to say something about that, and it's a real honor to be selected for the Union Sports Hall of Fame, and the ceremony is going to be April 23rd, and it's just an honor to be going in with some of the people that we are, including Athletic Director Tommy Sadler and one of the great Lady Bulldogs of all time, Caitlin Dudley Freeman, and a young man who nearly 20 years ago set an all-time record for every level of college basketball for block shots in a season, Robert Joseph. So it's going to be a really monumental night for me personally, and I know for the others who are going in. But, you know, I've thought about one thing before we do this game tonight with Christian Brothers. They can't see when we smile when we've got these masks on.
They can't. We've got to over-exaggerate the shrugging of the shoulders when you laugh a little bit.
Yeah.
You've really got to sell it.
Yeah, you got to raise the eyebrows like Groucho Marx.
You do, absolutely. But it's going to be a good game here tonight, Steve. Of course, Christian Brothers, a team that's underperformed this season, but not a bad team. They're 2-10. They haven't won since January 29th, but the real focus here is the Union Bulldogs. It's a team that's being ranked in the regional rankings, and talk a little bit about that and what that means to the team.
Well, what it means is if you have a ranking in your region, that means that you potentially are going to have a higher seed if you make the regionals before. That's the next level before you go to the national championship Final Four. But taking it one step at a time, the key tonight for Union to win, because if they win tonight, they pretty well have locked up a home court game next week against whomever. We'll know possibly as late as tonight who it would be against, but they would get a home court game next Tuesday night at 8 o'clock right here at Fred DeLay Gymnasium in the Gulf South Conference Tournament.
And I'm sure that Coach Niven and the boys know that going into this game, and it's going to be a decisive factor in how they play tonight. They definitely want to go after and get that win. They're 10-6. They've clinched a spot, but they want to go ahead and clinch the home field advantage. But for now, we'll go ahead and take a break and then be back here at the desk with the starters and the preview of tonight's game.
Community leaders are talking about Steve Beverly's TV classics, but are they serious? Do they like classic TV? Do they really watch?
That's a lot of questions in one sentence, Steve.
What do they think about the host?
I don't have any clear answers to that.
What usually happens if you watch TV classics?
A very entertaining evening for people.
Watch TV Classics Saturday and Sunday at 7 on TV6.
Oh, that's a good idea.
When I first came to Union, it was already like March or April of my senior year, and I hadn't decided where I wanted to go. I was looking at big Christian schools, small Christian schools, even state schools. I didn't want a Christian school that would just hide me away from the world and just teach me to live within a Christian environment. If I had to sum it up in one word, I would definitely say opportunity. It's given me so many chances to be a leader in different clubs and organizations. It's given me the chance to expand professionally, to build my portfolio. It's given me a chance to pursue my own interests and passions, and it's just been an extremely encouraging and empowering environment.
I am currently serving as a lower school physical education teacher at New Hope Christian Academy, which is in my hometown, Memphis. Last year of college is when I made a fresh start with Christ, and it's because of Union's community. They poured into me when I felt lost, when I felt hopeless, and they were very intentional about my growth, about my personal walk with Christ, and I think that was just so important. Not only are you getting high academics, but you are also getting spiritual growth, and you're getting people that genuinely care about you. See, not only in your faith, but also in your career.
This is the face of a fighter.
I'm fighting to keep Tennesseans working.
I'm fighting for time with my friends.
I'm fighting for football on Saturday.
I'm fighting to see my students back in the classroom.
We're fighting for our small business.
I'm fighting to keep my family safe.
Whatever you're fighting for, it's time for all Tennesseans to fight back. Until there's a vaccine for COVID-19, this is the face of a fighter. Face it, masks fight COVID-19.
We are back here at the Fred DeLay as Union's about to tip off in just a few minutes against Christian Brothers. So we'll go ahead and announce our starters for tonight's game, starting with the Christian Brothers Buccaneers. Now starting out their lineup will be number 0, Jesse Payne, the 4th. And I'm sure we'll just say Payne tonight. Maybe not include the 4th every time, but definitely a cool thing there with his name. Number 5, Aiden Ruthsatz, averages about 11 points a game. He's going to be a key factor for the Bucks here tonight like he's been all season long. And then number 13 is going to be Darrell Lewis. And number 20, their lead scorer, a 13-point average player, Nick Deifel.
Deifel. He is one of these that has a great three-point threat. He's shooting 46% from behind the arc, and so look out for him during tonight's game.
He's going to be a huge factor. You're absolutely right, Steve. And then, of course, rounding out their lineup is going to be number 23, Decorian Payton. And now on to the Bulldogs side of things. We've got starting out number 3, the Bulldogs sole senior in J.C. Hawkins, and he launches up a couple threes a game, so look for a couple from him from outside the arc as well. And then, of course, the freshman, the 5-time All-Gulf South Conference Freshman of the Week, tying Tyree Boykin's record, is Justin DeBuck, and he's been phenomenal for the Bulldogs. The lead scorer for the Bulldogs, of course, number 23, Hunter Vick, the transfer this season, and he's been one of the big reasons that the Bulldogs have already clinched a playoff spot. Now we've got number 24, Duson Georgiovich. He is a big man for the Bulldogs, and he's going to get a lot of blocks and rebounds here tonight. And, of course, number 33, Ty Parks, going to get a couple rebounds. He's the lead rebounder for the Bulldogs, and he's been shooting about 60% this season from the field. A very great performance from him this season.
Well, a key again is rebounding, because as you well remember, on this floor a couple of weeks ago against Delta State on a Friday night, when this team had been off for 13 days, and they had a very difficult time hitting the boards, and so the next day they were crashing those boards, and they managed to turn it around against Delta State. I think this is going to be a good weekend for the Bulldogs, and I think they've got a lot of incentive, and because of the fact that they had a good Saturday last week in their road trip, I think this is going to be a good weekend.
Absolutely, and you mentioned last weekend where they went 1-1 against Huntsville, Alabama, a team that is nationally ranked, so a big win for the Bulldogs. But right now we'll go to the floor for the PA announcer. We'll have the national anthem, a prayer, and of course the starters.
At Union University, as a Christian institution, we celebrate that the Bible affirms that every human being is made in the image of God, that the gospel of the risen Christ is for all people, everywhere, and that his church is composed of people from every nation, tribe, and tongue, that we enjoy incredible freedom and opportunity as citizens of the United States, and we lament that human sin has wreaked havoc in our world and perpetrated violations against the dignity of other human beings, that we have not yet attained the ideals upon which our country was founded. Therefore, we commit to remembering that our first and highest citizenship is to the kingdom of God, to repentance over our failure, to obey what we say we affirm about human dignity, the gospel, and the nature of the church, to never stop striving for liberty and justice for all, to act justly and love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God. We invite you to stand for a time of prayer by Dr. Howard Rule and remain standing for the national anthem by Grady Allen.
Let's pray together. Lord God, Almighty, maker of heaven and earth and everything good, thank you for allowing us to be here tonight. Thank you for these two schools, these two teams that will compete. Protect them. Allow them to play well and injury-free. And for the opportunity to enjoy good sportsmanship. We ask all of this in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ran glad, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups for tonight's contest. First, for the visiting team, Christian Brothers. At guard, number 0, Jesse Payne. Another guard, number 5, Aiden Rusatz. At guard, number 13, Daryl Lewis. At guard, number 20, Nick Deifel. At forward, number 23, Gregorian Payton. The Bucks are coached by Harry Willingham, Frank Sanati, Cedric Peterson, and head coach John Riley. And now, for the home team on the scoreboard, your Union University Bulldogs. The 6'6" guard, number 3, J.C. Hawkins. 6'1" guard, number 5, Justin DeBook. At guard, number 23, Hunter Grimm. The forward, number 24, Duson Georgiovich. At guard, number 33, Talandrius Parks. The Bulldogs are coached by Easton DeVoldi, Sean Blackburn, and in his 12th season, David Niven.
Well, Steve, there's the starters right there, and the two teams just about to take the floor. Union taking on Christian Brothers, and if you could really quick, give us your predictions for tonight's game.
Well, I think what you will look for is for the Bulldogs to aggressively take it to the inside as early as possible and then try to open up the outside game at that point. The key, particularly in the first half, is to try to get out to at least a 10, 12-point lead against this Christian Brothers team that has had a hard time coming from behind. And you'll see mostly man-to-man defense in this thing, but Dave Niven doesn't hesitate to go to a zone if he has to. That probably won't happen a lot tonight.
Well, the two teams here ready to tip off, and we're going to see Georgiovich taking on Payton down there in the circle. It's going to go the Bulldogs' way. The Bulldogs now with the chance here to get the first points on the scoreboard. They'll lose the ball there. Christian Brothers now with a fast break opportunity.
They were playing a bit of a zone, particularly around the perimeter.
Of course, the Bulldogs, a team that have shot very well from outside the arc this season, so you can't be too upset with Christian Brothers on that remark.
Well, this is a ball club that can hit from outside, and you see going for one that's just a little bit too far going off the glass. That's the problem right there we talked about, Alexander, is giving up offensive rebounds.
Right there, Union could not lock up the defensive rebounds. They gave up 2 to Christian Brothers, and on that third opportunity, Lewis was able to get the 2 points. Bulldogs trying to find something here, but they'll turn the ball over again. A rough start so far.
Well, you see Rusatz has done a great job of clogging up that paint.
Good rebound there by DeBuck. He's not the tallest player on the court, but Ty Parks tried for three, and it just wasn't quite there.
You got to shake up the cobwebs just a little bit, and this team has not been at home in a couple of weekends.
Bulldogs staying within the paint there. They're not drawing too far outside the perimeter.
He went for that left-hand hook, and quite frankly, if you look at that kind of shot, Peyton just had nowhere to go with him being double-teamed.
Not sure where Hawkins was trying to get that pass to go to, but it'll go out of bounds off of his hand.
I don't think Dave Niven was sure just watching his reaction over on the side court.
Georgiovich was the closest player, but he was behind Hawkins, and the pass was out front. Either way, the Bulldogs turn it over again, and they are still yet to score.
And you look for Deifel as one of those that, and he just had it stripped away from him, but Deifel is one of these that if he can get on a run, he can cause all kinds of problems for you. Averaging 13 a game.
That foul there is going to be on DeBuck. We'll see the first two free throws of the game from Payne, the fourth.
I think it's interesting that they have decided, at least in these early moments of this game, to take it right straight into the inside and just go completely at the Bulldogs rather than to depend on an outside shot.
It's a team right now that the five on the court have a significant size disadvantage. You can see the Bulldogs have a couple inches on the Christian Brothers team, but so far, they've been the ones dominant in the paint.
Christian Brothers has had an emotionally difficult season. At one point in time, they were almost shut down with practices because of the protocols in Shelby County. And, of course, they have had a monster time with COVID there. But finally, they were able to negotiate to be able to get back to practice. Now, last weekend, they could not have any fans in the stand for their home games because of that water problem that they were having down in Memphis.
Bulldogs down 3-0 here in the first 3 minutes. Still looking for the player to find the first points for him. Hawkins will chuck one up and just bounces out.
I've been impressed with how this Ruthsatz, who, as you mentioned, is not the tallest player on the floor, number 5, but he is absolutely all over the ball.
And part of that is because the Bulldogs haven't been as aggressive as they need to be. They're not chasing after those rebounds. As Payne will get that pass out in front of Luz, and it'll go out of bounds.
Well, both teams a bit sloppy here in the early going, and you have to believe they're going to shake off the cobwebs of this shortly.
Of course, Union, a team that's second in their division, and Christian Brothers is sitting in last. They've had a tough season, as you mentioned, but still a very good team.
Well, they would not, as I was watching finally the Bulldogs get a basket, it would not surprise me that this Christian Brothers team at least is trying to play a spoiler role here, and perhaps if they could knock off Union twice this weekend, it could mess everything up for the Bulldogs' chances for a home game during the conference tournament.
And, of course, hosting that game is the incentive for the Bulldogs to get at least one win this weekend. Looking to get 2.
Lady Bulldogs definitely are going to have 1, and if they win that one, they will have 2 games. They'll play Tuesday and Friday. If it is a doubleheader, if both the men and women play here on Tuesday night, the women would play at 5 and the men would play at 8.
Christian Brothers adds 2 there off the hand of Lewis. And you mentioned the women who are playing in Memphis tonight. They are up 11-0 in the first quarter, so a hot start from the Bulldogs down there.
Well, I know Mark Campbell talked about that he is concerned that his team was still at a January level rather than a February level, but last weekend those 2 victories I think did a lot for the team's confidence.
The ball will go out of bounds there off the hands of J.C. Clausey. Well, we'll stay with the Bulldogs. It must have touched one of the Bucks on the way out. Georgiovich backing in. Can't get it to go.
Got to put that thing up a little softer off the glass. Now watch the rotation, particularly in and out of the paint. They're trying to screen and get somebody open down under the basket. They haven't been that successful with it.
A big block there from Ty Parks off the backboard. That'll get the ball to go the Bulldogs' way. Hawkins for three. And that is cash money as he ties up the game here.
And we have one of the better crowds here of the entire season because they have relaxed a little bit the number of people who can get in here. And you got a really good student section here tonight.
It's a rainy night. There's not a lot much else to do on a night like this. And, of course, the students love to come and watch some Bulldogs basketball.
This is also Scholars of Excellence weekend on the Union campus, and they are hosting a lot of young people from out of town.
J.C. Clausey there puts it up, and that'll be a Bulldogs lead, the first of their ball game, but it'll be a timeout now. We'll take one as well.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's will you.
We are back here on E+ TV6 at the Fred DeLay Gym, and Union off to a rough start, Steve, but they've taken the lead finally here.
Yeah, they finally found a rhythm in the last 2 minutes, and they're hitting from outside, and then were able to get the ball to the inside for a couple of layups. And, you know, sometimes you just have to shake off the cobwebs of not playing, because a lot of times, you know, these teams are playing on Thursday and Saturday, so there's not as long of a layoff, but since we've been in COVID, it's been a Friday, Saturday against the same team. And so you've been 6 days without hitting the court in a competitive game, so that's one of the challenges that they have.
Absolutely, and of course, one of the things that got the Bulldogs in rhythm here was that J.C. Hawkins three-pointer. He's, of course, the Bulldogs' sole senior on the team. He shoots about 43 from outside the arc, so what kind of leadership does he have on this team?
Well, the one thing about he's an inspirational leader. That's a big thing, is because he doesn't do it just from what his stats are. He does it because he is one of these that you talk about makes everybody better around him. So he's an extremely inspiring leader on this floor.
Of course, he's a player that plays unselfishly. He passes the ball a lot to get other Bulldogs open. Well, we are back at the action here. Union playing a bit of a press here.
Half-court trap is something that Mark Campbell likes to do with the women's game, but Dave Niven will go to it from time to time to see if he can rattle an opponent.
Well, if it's something that Coach Campbell uses, it's a smart move to imitate it for sure. A steal there from J.C. Hawkins, and we were just talking about the impact he has on this team.
That was almost a triangle and two defense, the way they were employing that right in the paint.
J.C. Clausey again there, mixing up my JCs for a second, but I got it right. Well, he's got 4 early on.
Yeah, and Clausey, you can see his intense speed, and he just floats to the basket.
Christian Brothers have not scored in several minutes here. They were up 5-2, and Union on a 5-0 run.
Now watch this. He's going to try to go one-on-one, but instead he decides to dish it off.
That's going to be a foul there on Georgiovich, and that one will fall in for loose.
Well, that's one of those that he sensed footsteps coming, and so he put it up regardless of whether it would go through. That's what we talk about, putting the ball softly off the glass. You got a much higher percentage of getting it to go through than some of these people who will come in and try to absolutely kill it.
He did a good job there of drawing the foul, but finishing through the contact. He'll get a chance for a free throw here.
I will tell you, we would love to be able to give you stats right now, but our computer internet feed has not kicked in here since the start of the game, so hopefully they'll get that corrected.
Ty Parks there with the rebound. Now this, Steve, is the ultimate test of a sports broadcaster. Can you carry it without the stats? And we'll see what we can do.
Look at that. You talk about carrying it without stats. Going right through the middle, and nobody was home.
And Hunter Vick is a tremendous player. Of course, the transfer here and he's played phenomenally. He's the Bulldogs' lead scorer. Those are his first 2 of the game. And Ty Parks just in the right spot at the right time for that one.
Well, that's one of those things. Somebody didn't cut underneath as they were expecting, and this has been one of the problems is turnovers for this Christian Brothers team this year.
Union now on a 9-2 run. As Clausey backs down to the rim.
You got a foul away from the ball.
The ball's going to remain with the Bulldogs. They'll give it to number 22, Golday.
Well, that's their first team foul. I think they don't worry about that a great deal because they just, and see, there you go. You got to be very crisp with that pass.
Darrell Lewis showing some moves there, but he can't get the layup to go.
He had the moves, but he was out of control.
Hawkins for 3. Just off.
But look at the quick release that Hawkins had. They just dished it to him, and it was almost like a volleyball tip.
Hawkins, of course, a senior. It's instinctive at this point to get the ball there and go ahead and chuck it up.
And he did that. Chuck it up.
Well, here in West Tennessee,
there's a way that you could have expressed that somewhat differently.
Here in West Tennessee, the kids say chunk. They don't say chuck, they say chunk.
Chunk. Yeah, chunk. Union's got numbers on this one.
They'll have to slow it down, though, and that'll give a chance for the defense to set back up. Hunter Vick in trouble. Uzman, a little turn and release there, but that was an air ball.
Yeah, he released that one before he actually had a full look at the basket.
Several minutes here without any team scoring. It's been a bit of a back and forth.
Yeah, neither team has really developed an offensive rhythm to carry them for a run so far in this game. They got to hurry.
That was nowhere near, but they just had to throw it up there.
Excellent defense on the part of the Bulldogs.
Hunter Vick takes a 3. That'll just roll out.
Well, he was robbed on that one, but that's the thing that you look at with Hunter Vick, just absolutely that quick release.
Absolutely, and Union doing very well in the last few minutes, but it's time for a media timeout, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on E+ TV6.
If you watch Steve Beverly's TV classics, you may get a snack.
What do you say we toast some marshmallows, huh?
It's with your host,
Big Steve.
Some people watch even if they don't like the host.
Big Steve notwithstanding.
What do smart viewers think?
Oh, Mr. B, you're just a doozy.
Steve Beverly's TV Classics, Saturday and Sunday from 7 to 10 on TV6.
And of course, on Saturday and Sunday nights, it is Steve Beverly's TV Classics, and I'm lucky to have the host right here with me.
We're going to have some fun tomorrow night from 7 to 10. We'll have Union basketball tomorrow from 2:45 to 5, and then at 7 o'clock we'll be along with TV Classics, and we got some really fun stuff from the past, including the very first episode of The Tonight Show from 1954 with the original host Steve Allen. And if you've never seen it, that's where everybody in late night television owes their roots, is to Steve Allen. So we're going to have that tomorrow night. Should be fun.
Well, it sounds like a great deal of fun, and I personally have never seen it, so I'll have to be sure to tune in tomorrow night.
It's just been uncovered. They thought it was lost and gone forever, but the kinescope was just discovered. But something that we hope is not lost and gone forever is, for those who are Union fans, for them to finally start hitting some of those threes from outside.
Well, way to tie it in there, Steve, but we saw 1 3 from J.C. Hawkins, but we haven't seen anything since then.
They're back into that half-court trap. He keeps 3 guys across midcourt until they get it across.
Bulldogs playing great defense again. Almost had the trap there about midcourt. A 3 off the side of the rim.
Yeah, Rusatz, he was open for that, but again, they get the offensive board. Oh, my goodness. There was no way. Yeah, he was. When he caught that ball, he was behind the line. There was no way that Rusatz was going to get that one up with that much height that he was giving away.
Rusatz, a player that's only 5'8", and he was blocked there by Hunter Vick and Uzman Gay, and You're absolutely right. There was no chance at all, but I'm a little bit surprised he didn't draw the foul there.
And you can see on the sidelines Dave Niven having a little discussion with the officials.
From our angle here, it looked like Usman was clearly out of bounds when he caught the ball. Rufsatz, oh, it looks like a shot, but he'll dish it out.
And again, they're not being able to connect well from outside. Neither team is doing that well in the early going.
And we wish we could tell you the specific stat lines for that, but we're still waiting on our stats to load here. We'll just call it like we see it.
And so do the officials. They call it like they see it.
The Bulldogs here looking to pull away a little bit. It's been several minutes since they've scored. Usman Gay wide open for the little dunk.
Let me tell you something. They had to just back away because there was no way you were going to stop his momentum to drive that one home.
That's one of those plays where you get out of the way because you don't want to be on the poster.
Got a lot of enthusiastic fans here tonight, and that really is something they've had not a lot of this season because of the restrictions and the number of people who could be in here.
And great defense again from the Bulldogs, and they owe some of it to the electric crowd here tonight in the Fred DeLay. Clausey, a wide open three.
Just didn't get quite enough arc on that one.
He overshot it, hit the far side of the rim. Rufsatz will draw the foul on.
That's going to be a two-shot foul because he was inside at the top of the free throw circle when he put that one off.
Great awareness by him there to throw up the shot because he knew he had the contact. But he didn't have a lot of chance of that ball actually going in.
Well, Rufsatz is going to go to the line for two, and on the season, he's an 89% free throw shooter, so the Wheel of Fortune suggests that he could probably nail down both of these. And we didn't give him the announcer's jinx on that one.
Well, he got the first one, but do we need to shake the magic 8-ball and see if he'll get the second one, or did we not bring the 8-ball tonight?
Well, the 8-ball, you remember, I always loved on the 8-ball when you turned around and it would say, ask again later. You know, and that's a great answer if you don't have one. Ask again later.
That's one of those great answers as a parent. The kid asks you something, you say, well, ask me again later.
And we didn't have to ask again because he was true to form. He got both of his free throws.
He did, and those free throws really count, especially for a game that's close like this. Bulldogs were all stuck there on the right side.
It's going to go back to them, but I like what I see in their eyes tonight. The Bulldogs are playing with confidence, even though this is only a 13-9 game. They seem to really be looking very positive on the court.
A team that's really meshed well together over the course of the season. A lot of new players and transfers for the Bulldogs, but DeBuck with the shot. That one won't fall. Caught under the basket. Usman playing great defense there.
They've done a good job of shutting off the inside. You haven't seen them drive in for many layups so far tonight.
In the last few minutes here, they've taken some rough shots. There's an example of one that was off to the right. Usman Gay, what a move there.
Let me tell you what, that was like watching the tilt-a-whirl at the fair. He just spun around and got that right down the heart.
It's a 6-point game here. The Bulldogs lead it. Thought about the shot there. A good cut and a nice floater.
Yeah, that's an unusual thing to do that one-handed, and he did that almost without any control on it. You've got to have great balance to hit one in that measure.
Down to Usman Gay, and he'll draw the contact on that one.
So he gets a couple. If you wonder where our colleague Jackson Milner is tonight, who's been with us all season, he's frankly back in his room teasing his hair to see if he can get it a little higher. It's not as high as he would like it to be, and if he gets it precisely in that fashion, he's going to start looking like Conway Twitty. And so we won't see him tonight.
Well, he will be back tomorrow afternoon, and we'll check on the progress of the hair.
If he starts singing Conway Twitty songs, I'm leaving. All right, Bulldogs on 17-11. And this is the kind of thing that if in these last 8 minutes they can extend this out to about a 10 to 12 point lead, they have to feel pretty good about where they'll be sitting at in the locker room.
Of course, the Bulldogs have beat Christian Brothers twice already this year, but that was way back in December.
Yeah, that was the first 2 games of the season, and here they are the last 2 regular season games against the same club.
The Bulldogs will get the ball there.
And they got numbers.
Into Usman Gay, and
I think Usman actually, that was supposed to go across court, and Usman somewhat intercepted his own player.
A 3 there for the Buccaneers. That one's going to go to Christian Jones.
And Jones is only a 29% shooter from behind the arc, so he'll take anyone that he can get.
Well, it's only a 3-point game now after that one.
And they are really double teaming behind the paint.
DeBuck for the 3. He'll get it to go, and we're trading baskets from outside the arc.
You always love it when you can get an answer shot like that and force your opponent to have to work harder, and that's exactly what they just did.
Christian Brothers trying to find something, but the Bulldogs doing a good job of locking it down.
Offensive foul.
And the Bulldogs got lucky there because he was definitely going to make that one. Well, it's going to be a timeout here. It's 20-14, and we're about halfway through the first half.
My name is Katie Mccoy. I graduated in 2007, and now I am serving at Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary as an assistant professor of theology and women's studies. Let me tell you how Union transformed my life. I was called to ministry shortly after graduating, and when I look back, I can see how the Lord was planting seeds to prepare me for the future that I didn't know I was going to have. Come ready to see how it's all going to integrate into the big picture and overall direction of your life as a disciple of Christ. And that's my Union story.
Well, in the words of our colleague Jackson Milner, we are back from that small break.
Small break. Yeah, we'll have a large break later on tonight. Before we get back to the game, I want to mention to everybody at halftime, we're going to be visiting with Amy Garner from West Tennessee Healthcare tomorrow. For those of you watching us live, tomorrow, namely Saturday, February 27th, there's going to be a COVID-19 vaccination extravaganza at Lane College in Jackson at the gym, and also in Humboldt at the old hospital building, and in Selmer at the UT Martin Satellite Campus. And so if you are 65 or older, or if you are a public or private school teacher, they've still got slots available. Go to the West Tennessee Healthcare website and make an appointment for tomorrow. They want to get as many shots in arms as they possibly can.
And, of course, we'll have all the details on that at halftime when we take our large break.
That's it, large break.
Down into Georgiovich, and he'll get the 2.
And again, he was in traffic, but he had the reach advantage, and so he put it up softly instead of trying to kill it.
Of course, the Bulldogs have the height advantage on the floor, and it really showed on that play there. Locked up by Georgiovich, and he'll get the rebound.
Yeah, that was the case of not having anybody that came to the ball to help him out.
Somehow Hunter Vick was able to stay in there, and Clausey will take a 3.
Clausey was robbed on that one.
That one just bounced out, and that one hurts to see. Christian Brothers with the answer shot. They'll get it to go.
Well, once again, you look down at the opposite end of the floor, and you see Christian Jones with his second three-pointer of the game. That's not something he usually does.
And he had a bit of an attitude after that one. He turned around and took a good look at the Union bench before running back the other way.
Not a smart move to do, particularly on Union's home floor.
We've got a bit of a wrestling match here on the floor for the ball.
That's what you call in another sport a scrum.
A good old scrum here
Yes.
at the Fred DeLay.
That's exactly right. We've had a few in our time. And here comes the guy to clean all of this up. And I have to be honest with you, he's good at what he does, but he's not like the guy we had for several years that looked like he was the curling coach. He'd bring that thing out and just shake it all the way down. Paul Schultze, our director, he misses that guy.
He's over there shaking his head. Yes. Well, it's taken a good minute here, and he's not as fast as the other guy used to be.
No, that guy really, it was the last Winter Olympics. It was when he really came into his own, and I asked, could we hire him and add curling as a sport?
Georgiovich again, just overshot it. A bit too much power on that one.
That is a killer when you are there and you're wide open for the layup and you just overshoot it.
Well, the Buccaneers looking for some points here. They've been struggling here since the first few minutes.
Nice little left-hand layup. That is hard to do, switching hands and getting your momentum and your balance correctly, but he did that quite well.
DeBuck down to Georgiovich.
Yep, offensive foul. He took the elbow and pushed off. He's shaking his head no, but he did.
It's one of those where you never admit to it. You don't admit anything while you're on the court.
That's the way Bill Walton was. Bill Walton never believed he committed a personal foul. And I still think he doesn't believe he ever committed a personal foul.
Well, the Bulldogs have 5, at least from the eyes of the officials down there.
Yeah, here's the deal. I'm one of these that's an advocate that I think men's basketball, college men's basketball, is the only level left that is playing in halves. I think they ought to go as the left-hand layup goes through. I think they need to go to quarters, just like the women. It speeds the game up.
I think just about everybody besides the NCAA agrees with you there, Steve.
Yeah, there are some old-line coaches that are still dyed in the wool that we want to keep it a half, but there's no other level of men's basketball except for the colleges that play 20-minute halves.
It's just absolutely grueling on the players as well. They don't get that break until halftime.
Oh, my goodness.
Some contact there from Usman Gay, but nothing was called on the floor.
Man, he steamrolled that one in.
Ty Park spinning. He loses control of that one. He was trying to put him in a blender.
Yeah, and the blender, it went back to pulse.
Well, I think the plug came out of the wall.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
We got another timeout.
We do, and it's back to a 1-point game, so an exciting game here at the Fred DeLay, and make sure you stick with us on E+ TV6.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
The band here at the Fred DeLay getting the crowd excited. They're playing some fight songs here, but it's a 1-point game. The Bulldogs struggling here in the last few minutes, Steve.
Well, one of the key problems that you have here in these last few minutes is that Union's made a couple of turnovers, and they also have had a hard time hitting those threes from outside, missing a layup. And if you get into a pattern like that, then that allows the Christian brothers to get back into the contest.
Now the Bulldogs have been struggling in the paint in the last few minutes. You mentioned the missed layup. Of course, they've also lost the ball a couple times, turned it over about 2 or 3 times in the last 5 minutes.
Well, I wish we had, at this point in time, I wish we had the opportunity because I think we finally got our stats for the first time tonight. I hope we do. Or did I speak too soon?
That was the girls' game I had pulled up, but the men's stats still have not come through here. And
it is an internet delivery of stats, and we just don't have what's our women's score right now?
The women are leading at 45-34 with about 3 minutes left here in the second quarter.
And that's a high-scoring game.
Well, just as we mentioned it, the men's stats pulled up, so we'll be taking a look at those and give you all some updates on the trends. Usman Gay takes a three.
Yes!
Uncharacteristic of the big man, but he'll get it to fall.
That's like one of Dustin Johnson's putts that rolls around the cup and finally drops through on the PGA Tour.
How did he get that to one of his teammates? I thought for sure that was going for out of bounds.
Man, he slid worse than my dog Gidget.
The ball on the floor. And
yet another scrum, my friend.
The boys are scrumming here tonight at the Fred DeLay.
All over the place. It is, I'll be candid with you, it is a bit of a sloppy game here and there because they've been having both teams have had a difficult time holding on to the basketball.
They've had a tough time shooting as well. Neither team shooting so well here from this game, but they're finding ways to score, and it's really a defensive game so far.
Yeah, this is one of those things. You're 26-23, and you've got barely 2.5 minutes to go in the first half. Somebody's been missing a lot of shots.
The Bulldogs sitting at about 46% from the field goal, but their shots from outside the arc are just about 29%. Hawkins will take one anyway, and that'll go. Yes. He gets his second of the ball game. He's now 2 for 4, so he's good for 50% from outside the arc. The crowd chanting defense here, and a livelier bunch than we're used to seeing at the Fred DeLay.
Particularly late here in the quarter. You hope that one doesn't go through if you're a Union fan, and then begin to ease this thing out to perhaps a double-digit lead as you go to the locker room.
They've only got 1.5 minutes to do it, but the momentum is all their way so far. Hunter Vick had the ball. Of course, he's a good man to get the scoring going. They've only got 10 to shoot and don't have many options right now. Hawkins for 3 again. He'll miss that one. Christian Brothers now trying to get back in this one right before they head to the half.
They're going to take their time. They're looking for something perhaps if they could get a screen underneath, but they don't have any height to be able to make that happen.
Of course, they've struggled in the paint so far. It's going to be a foul on the floor as the official makes his way over to the table.
All right, still not in the bonus, so if either team commits one more, then you'll have a bonus late in the half. They've let them play pretty well tonight because we haven't seen one of these 12, 13, 14 fouls in the first half.
And it's been a quick half here, not a lot of scoring, not a lot of fouls. Just now 6:30 and we're about at halftime.
Union with the edge and rebounding, 14-13, so it's pretty even there.
About 5 seconds on the shot clock. He'll chuck up a 3, and he gets that one to go.
Well, Rusatz, he was about the only one who could have control of that, and so we got a timeout call with a little less than 30 seconds remaining here in the first half.
Coach Niven choosing to take a timeout there with about 30 seconds in the half. We'll keep it here on this one because we're about to take a large break, as Jackson Milner would call it. But the Bulldogs trying to get their lead to grow a little bit here before they head to the locker room. They're only up 3, and Steve, if they could give the ball to one guy, who's the hot hand right now?
Well, I think Usman Gay, if you could get him in the right position, he'd be one. But also, you know, look from the outside. Clause's had a good night from outside. And so, frankly, I don't know that there's any one guy that you would call a go-to guy as you're closing out the half. Now, if you're doing that at the end of the game, could be a completely different situation.
Of course, you mentioned Usman Gay, and he's at 10 points, shooting about 60% with 4 rebounds. So the Bulldogs' lead scorer and lead rebounder. He's a great player, and he's been playing very aggressive the last couple weekends for the Bulldogs.
Well, Union tonight, at this stage of the game, 48% from the floor, only 33% from behind the arc. But they've put it up more from behind the arc than has Christian Brothers.
Now Christian Brothers going to play a press here. Of course, there's no difference between the shot clock and the game clock, so the Bulldogs are going to probably slow it down and look for that one good opportunity. Clausey spinning there, and Ruth Satz almost fell to the floor.
Now notice how Dave Niven is spreading them out. The idea behind that is if you can get somebody to break free underneath and get an easy layup.
Ty Parks tried for it, and he wanted the foul call. Coach Niven wants it too.
And you can see Niven is really having a few words with the officials.
And the whole bench for the Bulldogs looks frustrated by that one. They really wanted that call and an opportunity to score 2 more before the half.
Well, you look at it right now, Niven is not going to get that call back, but 29-26 is your halftime score. And the key thing that we're looking for as we go through the rest of, as we are in the locker room right now as they head in that direction, is particularly trying to settle both of these teams down, because nobody has been able to get on a specific run through the entire game. But anyway, we're going to take a break right now, and where we go at this stage of the game is something very important in our community. Tomorrow from 10 to 2 in Jackson at Lane College, at the Lane College Gym, and also at Humboldt and at Selmer. It is going to be an extravaganza of COVID-19 vaccinations. If you're over 65, you can go. And you still need to go to the West Tennessee Healthcare website, WTHO.org, WTH.org, and make your appointment. But earlier today, we had a chance to talk with Amy Garner of West Tennessee Healthcare, and let's hear what she has to say about tomorrow's event.
Do not want to waste a single dose of vaccine, so we've got plenty. Just go to our website at WTH.org, and there's a link at the top to schedule an appointment, and we're just going to ask you for a little bit of information, and that's all you have to do.
And we have posted on West Tennessee Today as well a link to that opportunity and to that form that you can fill out to make the appointment. So you can go to WTH.org, or if you go to where we have it on West Tennessee Today, you can be led directly there. So that's what we hope all of you will do. Okay, about 400 of them. Are most of them in the smaller cities, or how about in the Jackson area?
Well, it looks like we've got more people scheduled in Humboldt, actually, but we've still got plenty slots there. We've still got plenty slots in Selmer and here in Jackson. You do not have to be a resident of the county where those vaccinations are being held. So if you live in North Jackson and it's more convenient to go to Humboldt, that's perfectly fine. If you live in North Mississippi and you want to go to Selmer, that's fine too. So we just want to get the vaccine to as many people as possible.
All right, Amy, we had a couple of questions that came in after our interview the other day, Wednesday, about the, I want to call it vaccination mania tomorrow, because that gives it a spectacular, but, and that's what we hope it is. We hope it is vaccination mania around here, so that we can get more of these shots in the arms. But someone asked the question, what about someone who is an asthmatic? Now, once again, I want to remind everybody, Amy is not a clinician. So there are some things that she has to find the answer for us when we ask her. But if you've had a chance at all to know about this, what about somebody who has asthma?
Well, actually, I heard from someone yesterday who is an asthmatic, and he actually went public for me to help spread the word. And that's Dr. Keith Taylor. Some of you may know him. He's a maxillofacial surgeon here in town, and he was telling the public yesterday that he's an asthmatic and takes medication for that. And he got his vaccine in January and got his second dose and had no problems whatsoever. And he was encouraging people to get the vaccine. My response for anybody that's concerned about that is to contact your local provider or contact a provider that you trust and talk to them about it. But it's my understanding that being an asthmatic is not an exclusion criteria for getting the vaccine, meaning that that's not a reason not to get it. So I would just talk to your provider.
All right, Amy, I'm going to check with everybody here about, let me double check here and see if we've got any other questions. I haven't seen any others come in. All right, someone else asked this question about what, and this may, I think I can probably answer this question as well, but I don't know if there's any specifics on this, but when it came to the idea of having teachers vaccinated, which we have mentioned in our Wednesday interview, that teachers, if you show your proof, a badge or some kind of documentation that you do teach in a public or private school situation, that you are eligible to get the shot. But somebody asked the question, well, what about somebody who has a daycare and you're caring for students in a daycare? I'm not sure, but I don't know if that really carries that far down as far as eligibility right now. Correct?
It actually does. Child care workers are considered to be eligible. So they're in that 1B category. So we've tried to reach out to as many child care centers as we could. But if you are a daycare worker, then you absolutely can get your vaccine tomorrow.
Now, in that case, and I'm glad I stand corrected on that, in that case, do they also need to show documentation that this is what they do?
Well, it would be really great if they could, some sort of proof that they own their own business, or that they have, tax records, or, utility bill, anything that they can help to show that they are a child care worker.
Okay. So that's the basic thing, is just have some kind of documentation that shows you do that. And it's not that they're trying to pick on people. What it is that they want to make sure that we don't have people who aren't that, who try to slip through the cracks and see if they can get the vaccine. It's a priority method that this is actually undergoing right now.
That's right. We want to try to be as fair and equitable as possible when giving the vaccine. And truly, if it was up to us alone, we would just give it to anybody that wanted it, that's eligible as far as being over the age of 18. But we're trying to stick with the state's vaccination plan and with the health department's current status, rather than getting in front of everybody. So the ID would be really helpful. We want to make sure that we're being fair to the groups who haven't had a chance to get their vaccine yet.
Okay, now I want us to recap one more time where in our 3 cities that everybody goes between 10 and 2 tomorrow. And Amy reminded you on Wednesday, don't do like you do when you're going for a yard sale on Saturday morning to be first in line, because it's not going to help you that much. But be there maybe 10 minutes early if you have a 10 o'clock appointment, just so that you don't hold up things. But here's the deal. Run through for us again where people go in Jackson, Humboldt, and Selmer tomorrow.
Here in Jackson, we're having an event at Lane College, which is at 545 Lane Avenue, right in the middle of town. And it's going to be at their physical education and recreation building, which is their gymnasium. It's a very large space, so we're going to be able to space everybody out. And one more point about not getting there early, try to get there during your allotted time, because we are trying to space everybody out. We're a little concerned about the weather too, so we don't want to have long lines where people are having to stand outside in locations where there may not be covering. So if you get there at your allotted time, we shouldn't have to worry about long lines, and we can help safely distance people. In Humboldt, we're having the event at 3525 Cherry Carroll Road, which is Humboldt Medical Center. And the event's going to be at the conference center there. And in Selmer, it's going to be at the UT Martin Satellite Campus there in Selmer. It's right on the bypass, 1269 Tennessee Avenue.
Yeah, if you're heading to Selmer, and you're going down 45 doing that, there is no way you're going to miss the UT Martin satellite, because it has got a huge logo on the building in case you're from, and if you live in that area, you know where it is. But we want to recap that because a lot of times we have new people who move to our communities and they're not as automatically familiar with locales as those who have lived here for many, many years or have been natives to West Tennessee. So we don't want to just automatically assume everybody knows in a case like that. Okay, so 10 to 2 tomorrow. And in particular, you stay approximately 15 minutes after you're given the shot, correct?
That's correct. We want to monitor and make sure nobody has any major allergic reactions. We've not seen that yet, but we want to be safe. And so we'll have trained professionals there to administer first aid or make sure that you're not having any issues. And we're going to ask you to stay for about 15 minutes and then you're free to go.
And I can truthfully say when I had mine, there was absolutely no one who had any unusual side effects. Nobody started looking like I was a teenage wolf, and it was a it was a very pleasant experience, to be honest with you, except that moment where you feel the sting of the needle going in. But other than that, this is a small amount of sacrifice of time to be able to have this kind of protection. But Amy, I want you to also stress this one more time, is that once you get shot, for the time being, it is still important to follow health protocols.
That's correct. We are asking people to still continue to wear their mask because there's still a mask mandate in place in some communities, and we want people to be compliant with those, but also for everyone's protection. We know that the vaccines are effective, but there is still a slight chance that you could get COVID after you get the vaccine. And it takes a little while to build up your immunity as well. So we're still asking people to practice social distancing, wear your mask, follow the hand hygiene protocols that you've all heard about. Stay away from large gatherings if you can. It's really important, not only to prevent the spread of COVID, but as you all know, it's, we are preventing the spread of the flu and a lot of other respiratory viruses right now, because we've seen our flu numbers just fall off to practically nothing here in the hospital. So, mask work, hand washing works, and the social distancing, it's all working to help the healthcare community, and it helps save lives. So.
Well, that is all the information there on the coronavirus vaccine clinic this weekend. And, of course, it is time now for our halftime stats. Now, starting off with the field goal percentage, Union finding their place a little bit. They struggled early on, but they ended up shooting about 46% in that first half. And Christian Brothers connected for 40%, so not bad numbers from either team, but definitely both teams are looking to grow a little bit in that respect. Now, as far as the three-point percentage is concerned, the Bulldogs only shot 33%, good for 3 for 9. So they really struggled from outside the arc, and Christian Brothers shot about 38%, so a little bit better for the Buccaneers, but it's been a rough game from outside the arc tonight. Now on the free throw side of things, the Bulldogs connected for 2 out of 2 for 100%, and then Christian Brothers was only able to hit 3 for 5 for 60%. Now rebounds win ball games, but so far tonight they are tied 14 apiece. Now the turnovers, the Bulldogs have 6 and the Buccaneers have 7. But the Bulldogs have been able to convert for 11 points off of the turnovers and just 5 for Christian Brothers.
And I think, Alexander, that is where your real difference is the game right now, is because Union has been able to capitalize more off of the mistakes by Christian Brothers. And anytime coaches look on that, is that if you hold a team to, let's say, 6 turnovers, you force 6 turnovers against a team, and if you can get 1 point per turnover off of that, most coaches say that's solid. Well, okay, you got a situation like this where Christian Brothers 7 turnovers and Union has picked up 11 off of that. So that's more than 1.5 points each time they've made a mistake. So you add that up over the course of a game, and that is where you really begin to see the difference that makes a huge difference as you get late into a game.
And the Buccaneers have been struggling in that respect. They got 6 turnovers from the Bulldogs and only were able to convert for 5 points And that's really been the struggle. That's why it's a 3-point game here at half, but Union was leading by as much as 8. And then the Buccaneers were able to shrink that lead back down to 3. So it'll be interesting to see what these two teams look like coming out of the locker room. And they're warming up now, but if you were to give advice to the Bulldogs to be able to finish this game strong, what would you say to them?
I would frankly say just keep playing your game. Don't try to make any massive adjustments. Now, I think Christian Brothers is probably playing a little bit over its head. They have nothing to lose. They're coming in with house money on this one. But I think if you're Union, just stay steady with it because you've got the edge. Even though it's only a 3-point game, you've got the edge in most of the categories. And what you got to do is be able to somehow, as many great coaches have talked about, in men's basketball, the game is played really in about 6-minute pockets. And so by the time you get to either the first or second timeout, maybe at the 12-minute mark, you want to be maybe of a 3-point lead now. You'd like to see yourself with about a 9 to 12-point lead at that point. Same thing if you're Christian Brothers. You are playing really over your head at this point to hold this to a 3-point game. Let's look at the scoring real quick. For Union, Usman Gay is the leader with 8, and J.C. Hawkins with a couple of 3-pointers with 6, and DeBuck with 5. Over on the other side, Daniel Luce, who didn't start this game, but he off the bench and ended up with 8 points in the first half. Christian Jones with 6. He had a couple of 3-pointers. And Aiden Ruthsatz, who we talked about early on, was all over the floor, and he was crashing after every loose ball on the floor. He had 5. So you haven't had that one player who has really taken control of this game, and I think that's what probably has to happen in the second half.
And, of course, you mentioned that no one's really taken over for either team. And for the Bulldogs, every single player that has entered the game has scored, and they've been sharing the ball a lot. They have 8 team assists, 3 of those off the hands of Hawkins. He's been sort of running this offense and finding opportunities for the Bulldogs to score, playmaking, if you will. But they definitely have to find somebody that's the go-to. And in the recent games, it's been Hunter Vick or Justin DeBuck or even Ty Parks, but one of those 3 players has got to come out as the lead scorer for the Bulldogs in this game so they can pull away with this one.
The thing that you want to have happen as you approach next week's conference tournament is that you don't want to ease into it or be sloppy going into it just because you're right on the precipice of being able to get a home court advantage. The big thing that you want to do is to go in sharp, pristine as you approach that first tournament game that you'll get to play at home on Tuesday night, you hope.
You want to come in steamrolling over some other teams and get that momentum with you to go ahead and continue on. So some big games from the Bulldogs. And a good rebound there by Georgiovich. He falls hard to the ground.
Man, have you noticed how many guys have hit the deck tonight? They have been all over the place. They've been spilling around here like milk.
It's been a rough game here, and we're about to find out who's going to be the lucky charm for the Bulldogs.
Well, that's right. They're magically delicious, and they hope whichever one of them it's going to be that lucky charm.
Hunter Vick with the ball now. He's been a good luck charm for the Bulldogs all season. Buck with the 3, and it goes in. And what about those passes from the Bulldogs?
Yeah, and they've already called a timeout. When you force your opponent to go ahead and call a timeout before the first minute of the half is underway, you got trouble.
Absolutely, and the Bulldogs coming out strong here in the second half, scores 32-26.
Is my older brother, Tom. When I would visit him occasionally, he would talk about things that didn't make sense to me. Bottom line, I got a call. And my brother killed himself. I've always felt I could have done more. I'm Mike Thompson, and I will listen.
We're back here on E+ TV6, and if you just missed that first 39 seconds of the second half, you missed some big momentum for the Bulldogs. They were able to get the big rebound from Georgiovich, and then after that great passing there, they found DeBuck, and he connected for the 3.
Yeah, the thing about it is they could have gone in for a 2 at any one time because they had the numbers, but They were looking for somebody who could get absolutely wide open. The screens were there, and DeBuck just nailed it.
And, of course, the credit to Georgiovich. He got the ball down there in the paint, but he saw Parks open up the perimeter, passed it to him, who then eventually passed it to DeBuck. But the Christian Brothers team definitely a bit scared here. They came out in the half. They called the timeout after just 39 seconds.
I want to also offer our thanks to E+ TV6 and Thomas Varagese, because this game originally was not on the schedule, and we found out we could do it this morning, and we thank Thomas for clearing the time, and we will be with you tomorrow afternoon for Game 2 of this weekend set.
It's a good weekend to get some Union basketball on TV, because it's a big one as they play to look for that home court advantage in the playoffs.
And the last regular season doubleheader.
And a good season for the Bulldogs. That'll go off the top corner of the glass. A good layup for Peyton.
Well, here's what Peyton did. A lot of players have a difficult time to putting it high off the glass and soft. A lot of times they'll kill it, and it goes way off to the left on that kind of shot. But he just managed to get it up very softly.
Hawkins won't take the three. That's going to be a charge.
Yep. That was perfect position by Peyton.
Peyton, a heads-up play there to plant his feet and take that charge. Georgiovich is going to check out after that one. It'll bring in Usman Gay.
And you don't really lose anything when the two of them swap off, but that's his second foul, so I know Dave Niven wants to sit him down for a bit.
And sometimes after one foul like that you're frustrated by, you're easy to commit a second one because of your frustration. Good steal there from Hawkins, and almost lost it. Ty Parks avoiding the player there, but Bulldogs struggling.
Well, they had 4 shots at the basket and finally drew the foul.
And Ty Parks, he had to duck under one of the Christian Brothers players there, but Bulldogs finally an opportunity here to score, and nobody's going to be jumping on top of them while they take these shots.
Well, this is the key thing is also when you got the clock stopped, go ahead and try to extend that lead and not give them a 1 for 2. Because anytime you're able to do that, then what happens is the other guys, it's to their advantage.
Hunter Vick hit the first one there. He's an 87% season shooter from the free throw line, and that one was robbed from him. Inside, Usman Gay's all over that.
I guess you would call that a pass rather than a shot.
At least you would like to call it a pass if you were the player there.
Oh, that was one of those. He had an opening and just absolutely let that go way too high.
And it was far off to the left, and Usman Gay was just able to rise up and snag that one. Hunter Vick with the good move.
Boy, you have to have strong arm strength to be able to do a curl move like that and curl the basket.
And Hunter Vick taking good advantage there of his 2 steps, and that's all he needed to get that one.
Been a very quickly played game so far.
That one won't go, and another rebound for Ty Parks.
Here's what you have to do at this point, Alexander. Look on a missed shot like that, the same as a turnover. And you look on, you get down the court and try to make it a 9-point game.
The Bulldogs only led by 3 at the half if you're just now joining us. DeBuck with the nice little jumper.
That's a 2-pointer, but they'll take it. But that's what I'm talking about. They went down, did Christian Brothers, had that missed shot, so you look on that just like it was a turnover.
The Bulldogs now with their largest lead of the game. It's a 9-point ball game.
Now watch Union continue to switch off on defense.
He was open, but he won't take it. What a pass there. He finds the open man.
I have been very impressed by Ruthsats in this game. Christian Brothers may not win it, but that little guy has played his heart out so far.
He has. He's playing very, very well for the Buccaneers. He's had 5 points with 6 rebounds, and at his height, that is incredible for him to be the lead rebounder in this ball game. Going to be a whistle. They're going to go ahead and call a foul. That one's going to be on Peyton.
And that's his first.
It'll be a timeout on the floor. The Bulldogs lead it 37-30 with about 15 to play here in the second half. Don't go anywhere. I'm Alexander Bitterling. He's Steve Beverly, and this is E+ TV6.
The road to national championships runs through NCAA.com and the NCAA Sports app. And whether you follow one college team or all of them, it's never been easier to get the content you want all in one place. With live broadcasts of multiple championships across all divisions. With exclusive access.
Ready to go? Let's have some fun.
And highlights for every single championship. Stay in the game all season long with NCAA.com and the NCAA Sports app.
The Bulldogs coming out hot here in the second half. They were up 3 at halftime, but now they are up 7. And Steve, what has been the trend that's making the Bulldogs increase their lead?
Union is being very calm on the floor, even if they make a mistake. But the key thing is defensively, they are keeping this Buccaneer team from getting easy layups underneath. And also, I've watched Union's defense is forcing Christian Brothers to rush some shots. And when you do that, that's when you end up with these one-shot possessions that if they don't go, it's just like throwing the ball away. And so that's what they've done so far. But Union has been very, very calm since they've come out in the second half. They haven't done anything to be careless with the basketball.
Because the Buccaneers have rushed those shots, they're only shooting 39% from the field. The Bulldogs, on the other hand, are shooting 52%, so they are making the most of their opportunities.
That's one of your big categories right there.
And the quiet Fred DeLay here. They've been loud tonight, but they're allowing the Bulldogs to work in silence. And Hunter Vick.
Vick with a great turnaround one-on-one move. Timed his jump just perfectly and went ahead of his defender. That's a textbook play.
And he does it so well for the Bulldogs. He's their lead scorer on the season.
Oh, somebody was not home there for Union.
And Christian Jones was just wide open in the paint. Union cannot let that happen if they want to keep increasing their lead.
Union will get it back.
They got lucky on that one. It was stripped away from Usman Gay, but it went out in the process.
I want to thank our fine crew tonight. A lot of these folks were here tonight on very short notice, and we really appreciate them.
He'll step out on that one. Looks like he almost hurt himself trying to keep it in bounds. The Bulldogs will remain in possession. They've got 20 on the shot clock. Now we're taking, it looks like, a quick break on the floor for Hunter Vick to retie his shoe. So we'll give you a quick update from the women's game down at Christian Brothers. The Bulldogs lead at 63-51 off 26 points from Shanique Lucas, and she is having herself a great night.
She is peaking at the end of the season, just as you would hope somebody like she is, because she's a great floor leader as well as a scorer.
And her play last week, of course, earned her the Women's Gulf South Conference Player of the Week. Excuse me, she's a sophomore now. Yeah. Ty Parks to Hunter Vick, and Hunter Vick is patient and finds a good shot.
Double head fake, and the second time he completely lost his defenders and had the easy layup.
That's good basketball right there from the pass from Parks. Hunter Vick knowing when to take the shot. And that's what the Bulldogs need. They lead it by 9 again. Good move there. The Buccaneers keeping pace with the Bulldogs for now, but I don't know how long that'll last.
I've been very impressed by the way they've been able to do that. That's the one thing if you're Union you can't afford. They got numbers.
And a little bit of an alley-oop layup there, and they made it look nice, but they're still down 6.
In 23 seconds, the lead has gone now from 9 to 6.
The Bulldogs have got to remain in control of the basketball. DeBuck's floater was just short. When he gets the other opportunity, he'll get that one to go. Well, he's got 12 points now.
Well, the key thing on a situation like that is continuing to maintain your concentration, and that's what they did.
A lot of passing here from the Buccaneers, and that'll get them to find an open man. Lewis was open under the basket.
Well, CBU is not going away. You can guarantee yourself that, even though this is probably their last weekend of the season. They've hung in there in this one, and I'm very impressed with that because it's very easy dealing with COVID and so many of the other things that have been a downer for them this season. It's very easy for you to just absolutely throw in the towel and mail it in, and they have not done that tonight.
We're going to see J.C. Clausey come back in the game for Ty Parks, and the Christian Brothers Buccaneers are fighting hard. They're not letting the Bulldogs take this one easy. And they're still in this game. They have an opportunity to take this one tonight. And they get a steal. That'll help if they can get 2 points. And they will.
And there you go. That's 2 straight mistakes on possessions that you've given up 4 points, and the lead has been slashed by 2/3.
Christian Jones now with 12 points. He's the lead scorer for the Buccaneers, and he's tied with DeBuck. It's only a 3-point game. They'll find Hunter Vick, though, and that's a good play right there.
Once again, Vick very patient before he released the ball. He saw the footsteps coming, but he managed to lose his defender and get the easy layup.
Hunter Vick, although it's his first year with the Bulldogs, he's an experienced player. He played Division I last year, and he's a junior this year. And that'll free a man on the perimeter, but he can't get it to go.
If you're going to take one with Christian Brothers, let them have the 3 open like that because they've not been a good 3-point shooting team this season.
Usman Gay, he tried to sell that one, but Hawkins will take a 3, and it is good. He's got 3 of those tonight.
And timeout has been called.
Union getting back their lead. They're now up 8. Score is 48-40. We'll take a quick break here on E+ TV 6.
Oh, the more we get together, the more we get together, the happier we'll be. 'Cause your friends are my friends are your friends. The more we get together, the happier we'll be. The more we get together, the happier we'll be.
We're back here at the Fred Delay, and we've heard a lot of whistles the last couple minutes over that break. Looks like the officials are trying to get the teams to come back out on the floor.
I think there's a question mark as to whether that was actually a timeout that was called. Also, we're only 17 seconds away from when the next media timeout is, so I know there's a lot of discussion about that.
Of course, that's an interesting time to call a timeout, but when a team like that gets a big 3 on you, it can be a momentum shifter, and sometimes you've just got to sit down your team and talk it out with them.
Well, this is one of the tough things is that's got them down to 2 timeouts for the remainder of the game. And, you know, if they're able to get back in for a close one on this, the big key is going to be, all right, is that going to be a factor down the road? Now, okay, now we've just noticed that they have knocked them down to 1 timeout. So Christian Brothers are going to be playing the rest of this one with only 1 timeout remaining.
That's going to be bad news for the Buccaneers. Even if they get back in this one, it's going to be tough to do it with just 1 timeout when the Bulldogs still have 3.
Well, when you're down by 8 like this and suddenly you're facing momentum shifting heavily at the other side, you just can't afford to take that many timeouts this quickly. But, you know, it's also, we talked about they're playing with house money coming in here with a 2-10 record, the final weekend of the season. You know, you might as well take a gamble with it. And the officials are still discussing it with the coach over on the other side. And there's Paul Schultze, our director. Paul has been doing these for us for the last 4 years, and I'm telling you, he's one of the best guys in the business.
And he does it so uniquely. The productions that he puts on are such high quality with several different cameras, and he does it all from boxing to softball to basketball and football even.
I called Golden Gloves, and there you go, Ray Eaton and Lawson Mann on the other cameras. I called Golden Gloves boxing for the first time in my career last March, right before the pandemic started. So it was a fun night indeed. Jackson Milner and I both calling, and it's this guy with a left and the other guy with a right. What a fun night we had.
And the question, of course, Steve, is did you get a call a knockout?
I did.
Good. That's what you always want to see when it's a boxing.
Yeah, there was one that goes, down goes Jones. Down goes Jones. I watched that the other night.
Well, it's a 6-point game. Christian Brothers gets 2 there.
That's what you want out of a timeout.
The buck spinning and a great fadeaway there.
He has such, it is so smooth when he does the fall away because he just easily floats it back up in.
It's an 8-point game for the Bulldogs with 11.5 to play, and it's far from over.
Well, they buck with 14 of Union's 50. Oh, my goodness, another spill.
We've seen players all over the floor tonight, and it's been a rough and kind of sloppy game here at the Fred DeLay.
That's first foul on J.C. Hawkins, so they're not going to worry about that terribly. But we have seen, this has been a very physical game, lots of contact. But that is only the second team foul on the Bulldogs in this half. And that's one thing about it. I think that's one of the reasons the first half was played so quickly is that we had a relatively limited number of fouls. Nobody got into the bonus.
Both teams doing a good job of limiting their fouls that they're committing, and we saw a lot of missed shots in the first half, and that sped things up quickly as well. The Christian Brothers trying to get some more points and just rolls out there.
Now, they're going to give it back to CBU, but that's one thing that you have got to give a huge amount of credit to Gay to, but just he was flying over there trying to get a hold of that ball.
They were trying hard, but the Buccaneers will still end up with this one.
If you're Union, you can't let off on the gas defensively.
What a move there from Daryl Jones. You saw that little step he took to the right. That's a good shot. Hawkins from 3 again. That one won't go.
Yep, they managed to get the offensive board.
And those offensive rebounds are super important in a game this close. Now we'll see if they can get the second chance point.
Oh, off his fingers.
And Clausey just wasn't able to secure the pass to him there. The JCs were trying to get something to happen.
And they give it back to Union.
They will give it back to Union, and that's good for J.C. Clausey there because he really kind of bobbled that one.
The trailing official saw it and overruled the other official who had said it was going to be CBU ball.
Bulldogs only up 6.
They got to hurry. They only have 3 seconds.
Usman will get that one to roll in there.
This is really a good turnout for a Friday night game, and you have probably the best student section we've seen this year.
They're, of course, excited about this men's basketball team, a team that's played very well this season, and this is their last home game before we get into postseason play.
Usman Gay commits that one, so they'll play it underneath.
That's going to be his second personal foul.
And each team with 3 team fouls as we approach the halfway mark of this second half.
There's going to be another one on Usman.
Oh, that's his third.
He just put his body into that one. And
that's one of those like you were talking about a few minutes ago. You commit one, and then out of frustration, oftentimes you'll see a player turn right around and commit the second one.
I saw something like that, but to a much larger extent in a high school game I did a while back. I saw a player come in, and in 1 minute, he committed 4 fouls. And then he sat down for 30 seconds and came back in, committed his 5th, and then sat the rest of the game out, and I've never seen anything quite like it.
I don't think you ever will again either. All right, it's going to go to Union.
They tried to save that one, and they fought valiantly for it, but you can't always get it back.
Yeah, I remember years ago, a great girls basketball player in high school in South Georgia back in the 60s, Mary Beth Strickland. And she committed 4 fouls in the first 3 minutes of the first quarter.
Georgiovich with the and one opportunity there.
And that again, you look at how patient he is. He doesn't try to just fly down the floor, and then when he has an opportunity, he puts it softly off the glass. He does not try to kill it.
The Bulldogs as a team have done well being patient with the ball, and that's good for 58% shooting, which in a game as rough as this one, that's pretty good numbers for the Bulldogs.
I'll tell you, you'll take it no matter whether there's a lot of physical contact on there. You're shooting 58%. You just about beat any opponent that you have unless you don't put up enough shots.
And they're shooting 42 from outside the arc. Good numbers there as well.
And picked up the offensive board, but he couldn't hold it.
Just couldn't get it in his grasp there. But the Bulldogs are still up 9 points with a little less than 10.
And Dave's going to go back to that half-court trap. This time he's got 3 across midcourt. Some coaches do it with 2 and others with 3. And they just right into the hands there of J.C. Hawkins.
He'll get fouled. Clausy falling hard. He's holding his right ankle.
Yep, it looked like he rolled that thing as he went down to the. And I'm going to tell you, as many people as we've seen hit the deck tonight, I'm surprised that hasn't happened more.
That one, he took a tough fall. The trainers are over there, and you never want to see that, and you always hope that it's okay if a player falls like that.
Yeah, the thing is you hope it's not a sprain, and if it is, I'm telling you, there's a lot of them that you don't want to see it be a high ankle sprain, because that one can be one that can keep you out for a while. And this is at this time of season with the conference tournament starting up on Tuesday night, you don't want to see something like this happen.
It can be just such a big impact on the team to see a player go down like that. And Clausy, his stats tonight don't really do him justice. He has 4 points as he's helped up there. But his aggressiveness on the floor has really helped the Bulldogs.
We'll see him again.
He's able to walk off by himself with a little bit of help to get up, but
those things, a lot of times what will happen, they will just sting the life out of you, and then they get okay once you have a chance to rest it.
Well, last weekend we saw a similar thing in the women's game, and she was back in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
They're going to make Hawkins run for that one, but he'll be able to corral it back in.
He came perilously close to touching that ball back on his side of the court.
He did, and I think he noticed right at the last second he needed to wait to touch it till he got over the line.
Oh! That was one that you got a little bit too cute with the pass, trying to hook it in rather than trying to lob it in and cough it up.
And that'll be a turnover for the Bulldogs, which you do not want to see when you have only a single-digit lead with this much left in a ball game.
Oh, yeah, boy. I knew that was going to come one way or another. Now, the big question is that going to be – let's see who that's going to be called on. I was going to go back to CBU, and I did not see an announcement as to who they called it on.
It almost looks like Ty Parks kicked the ball. He at least tried to.
Perhaps they did call it that.
They didn't make their way to the scorer's table, so must not have been a foul. He went up the baseline and finds the perimeter shot, and that one, it was a beautiful shot.
That was a risk reward because he had a ticket to the basket, but kicking it outside to the open guy for the three.
And they've got this one within 6 again, but every time they get here, the Bulldogs add some more, and it just goes back and forth.
Some of the issues that you see is teams that have to exert so much energy trying to make a comeback and just can't quite get there.
Georgiovich just didn't even jump on that first one.
But notice again how patient he is. He did not panic. He did not get out of control. He just waited for the ball to come back to him.
He did a good job. He got the second chance opportunity, which if you're going to miss one, you always want to get that rebound and put it back up there. Oh, my goodness. He was completely covered and still got the three to go in the corner.
And Ruth Satz gave up about 4 to 5 inches in height on that one and still got it to go through. I want to say I'm impressed with that young man.
J.C. Hawkins actually is 10 inches taller than Ruth Satz, and somehow he got it over the head of Hawkins.
and still managed to get it in. There you go.
Wide open is Georgiovich down there in the paint. The Bulldogs have 36 points now in the paint and 30 for Christian Brothers.
Boy, he went right out the back door and decided to plow a little bit.
This is a game that's really been fought down in the paint. And they won't call that one there.
That looked like if you were in professional wrestling, that would be a brain buster.
Well, we don't want to see anybody's brain get busted out here tonight at the Fred DeLay.
But we got a timeout.
We do have a timeout, and the Bulldogs lead at 58-51 on E+ TV6.
It's not about where you were born. It's not about your gender or the color of your skin, or whether you're rich, poor, or in the middle. No matter what you play, if you have the skill and drive to succeed in school and in sports, we'll provide the opportunity.
We are back here, and the Bulldogs lead at 58-51. But down in Memphis, we're keeping close tabs on the women's game for Union. They are leading 83-71. And the star player for the night has been Shanique Lucas, the reigning Gulf South Conference Player of the Week. She has 30, and Steve, she's so close to that career high.
Well, the thing about it is, she had such a big first half and a third quarter, but teams, when she has had a big run, and we saw that last weekend, teams begin to double down on her to really keep her from being able to get shots off in the fourth quarter of the game. But still, 30 points, that's where you want a player to really peak, is at this time of year in February as you approach March for your conference tournament.
And she's really leading that women's Bulldogs team. Of course, she has help from Jalencia Williams, who has 18 tonight, one of the star players and the senior for the Lady Bulldogs. But we are back here with this men's game at the Fred DeLay as the ball's about to be inbounded.
They didn't give me enough Sweet Caroline there. I wanted to hear more of that.
There weren't enough bum bum bums.
I know. I needed to do that. I'd have done it on the air. Right into the hands. Oh, man. J.C. Hawkins, it was just a gift.
Hawkins having a great night himself. He's got 9 points with 5 assists and 3 steals. Hunter Vick showing off some dribbling moves, and he spins. He put them in the spin cycle there.
He got away with that one because it looked like almost a double pivot move, but we'll take it.
Hunter Vick, it just does it all for the Bulldogs. He's got 11 points now. 13, as a stats update, but the Bulldogs are now up 9, and they've never been able to cross that threshold of the double digits lead tonight. A good cut and a pass. Well, they were going to say that the ball went the other way before the shot. It's going to be an offensive foul.
Now they're giving it to him. No offensive foul. They're giving that one a chance for a three-point play.
So the foul will go to Georgiovich. It looked like they were calling off the basket, but they send him to the line anyway.
And once again, Union up by 9, and they are still plugging away with it. I am really impressed with the resilience of this Christian Brothers team.
He'll get that one to go. That's Dyfel.
And this is a Christian Brothers team that almost threw in the towel on its season because of the amount of COVID outbreaks and the restrictions they had on practices. Look at this.
They've got numbers now wide open.
Goodbye, goodbye.
Great job there from Dyfel. He just had 4 in a row right there.
And you got a 5-point run all of a sudden.
It's a 4-point game, and they've got 6 minutes to take over this ball game.
For Union in the balance is pretty well sewing up a home court game Tuesday night. You got to hold on to it.
Double teaming Hunter Vick.
Dave Niven called timeout, and very, very shrewdly.
That was a good timeout call there by David Niven. The Bulldogs are going to have to take a second here to reevaluate, and we'll take a second to catch a breath as well. Don't go anywhere because this is a close game here at the Fred DeLay.
Steve Beverly's TV Classics can cure what ails you.
I watched and it got rid of my hemorrhoids.
Staying awake at night? Just watch TV Classics.
My daughter watched and she went right to sleep.
Do not watch Steve Beverly's TV Classics if fights upset your stomach. Do not watch if high drama leads to emotional distress. And do not turn on TV6 Saturday or Sunday at 7 if hillbillies give you a gallbladder attack.
Ask your doctor if Steve Beverly's Classics is right for you.
The Buccaneers on a 5-0 run here in the last minute and 7 seconds, and they've clawed their way into within 4 points of the Bulldogs.
Did you see how happy all those fans were?
They looked pretty happy for a game they only lead by 4.
They're going to go home tonight and tell everybody, did you see me on TV? That's exactly what they're going to do. You know, did y'all see me wave?
You always get excited to see yourself on TV no matter how old you are.
That's right. And some of those people were how old? Let's just say that.
That ball will go out of bounds, and looks like it's going to stay with the Bulldogs.
All right, this is a big possession right here because you do not want, if you're a Union fan, you do not want to see Christian Brothers have a chance to close this to a one-point game.
Usman chucked it up, and Ty Parks with that big rebound there.
They were so fortunate.
Hawkins can't get the 3 to connect. He's now 3 for 8 from outside the arc.
And all the way back down at the opposite end, and that may be the 4th foul on Usman Gay.
They're going to call the foul on somebody, presumably on Gay.
Yep.
It will be. By the time he committed the foul, they were already beyond the basket, so it was rough. I think he just couldn't stop his momentum, but not a good foul to give up there.
It's going to be interesting to see if Dave Niven takes a risk and leaves him in for the remainder of this because we still got 5 minutes remaining.
He's been great for the Bulldogs tonight. He just had a big rebound on the other side of the floor, so if you take him out, you're losing a key component. He'll get one of them to go there.
Back to a one-possession game again.
It's been a long time since this game has been a one-possession, and actually the start of the second half was the last time.
That's right,
3-point game.
29-26 to start the half.
A low-scoring game in the first half for sure. And we talked earlier about the field goal percentage that Christian Brothers was at about 38, and good shot there from Usman, the turnaround jumper.
Yeah, the defenders were expecting a pass, and they just left him somewhat quietly there at the center of the free throw circle.
Now, since the first half, Christian Brothers was shooting about 33% from the field. They're now shooting 51, so their shooting percentage in the second half has been tremendously better.
Now, if you're Christian Brothers, you don't want to start panicking right now and just going for threes. You got plenty of time.
They've only got 5 on the shot clock, though, so they don't have time on this possession.
Too
what
high.
A putback there.
It was too high, but look on the back door how that one for Daniel Luce.
That was a heads-up play from him to rise up and be able to put that one back in. It's a 3-point game again.
Got a media timeout on the next break. Remember, Christian Brothers with a steal.
Luce with the ball, him against Hawkins. He didn't get the foul call he wanted.
And they're giving it to Union.
They're going to send it Union's way, and we'll take the media timeout before then. Union with the key possession here, 3:47 to play, and they only lead it by 3. We know you won't go anywhere, but make sure to stick around on E+ TV6.
With so much information on COVID-19 coming from different directions, trying to find answers to your questions can be a challenge. But we're here to help. The Tennessee Department of Health provides guidance on prevention, symptoms, testing, food handling, and more. When you visit our Office of Minority Health and Disparities Elimination page, you will see a list of resources right there in your community. Places you can contact which can help bring you and your family a little peace of mind. For more information, go to tn.gov/health.
And let me remind everybody that tonight you can still go to West Tennessee Healthcare's website, WTH.org. It'll lead you right to the appointment form, and you can go to Lane College tomorrow if you're eligible, and that's being 65 years old or older. And if you are a public or private school teacher, if you are one of the eligible categories, go there to Lane College 10 to 2 tomorrow and get your COVID-19 vaccine. And I can tell you, and if you get it, then 3 weeks from now you go to the same place and get the second part of the vaccine.
And of course, an important health update there from Steve Beverly, but this game here at the Fred DeLay is very close. You see some fans here, and it's definitely a stressful game for the fans of the home team.
The important health update is checking the pulse beats of the fans here who keep seeing Union. The local fans are seeing Union still getting up by 9, and then it goes back to 6 and then to 3, and it's a one-possession game again and another big possession for the Bulldogs.
The Bulldogs here in a very close game, but down in Memphis, the Lady Bulldogs beginning to pull away. They lead it by 8, 87-79 with about 2 to play.
And Shanique still with 30, I guess.
She is, and the last weekend she was one possession. Ty Parks takes a 3. And Christian Brothers with a big rebound there, but last weekend Shanique Lucas got very close to her career high. I believe she finished with 29, but about 3 minutes left, she didn't take a shot for the rest of the game. Coach Campbell actually took her out for the final 2 minutes.
They're again taking a lot of time off the clock.
Ty Parks rises way up for that rebound.
They look very disorganized on that particular play because they were taking so much time off the clock, and it was almost as if it was a desperation 3.
They've got to make better playmaking, and Hawkins missing another 3.
That's going to be an over-the-back foul, and that's it for Usman Gay.
Usman's going to have to take a seat, and Georgiovich is going to come back in.
You can tell by his expression, he's frustrated with himself, but that was just one of those going for that rebound. He leaves the game 10 points on the night, and for him it was really a lot of terrific contributions during the course of the game. He had a couple of assists and 7 rebounds.
Shanique Lucas just did it. She connects for 2 free throws, and she sets a career-high 32 points as the Bulldogs are on their way to a big win down at Christian Brothers.
She's on the way of perhaps becoming the Amy Philomley Flores of her day.
And we talked about it, Jackson and I did, all season long, that there were big shoes to fill without Jada Smith, but Shanique Lucas looks like she's the young rising star for the Bulldogs.
And we got a 1-point game.
This game here at the Fred DeLay is nowhere near as safe for the Bulldogs as it is down in Memphis. Union's got to make use of this possession here. And Georgiovich has 4 fouls of his own, so he's also in foul trouble.
They're down to 8 on the shot clock. Oh, my. I've seen so many careless mistakes on the part of the Bulldogs in the last 3 minutes. Missed opportunities. And now Christian Brothers with an opportunity to take the lead.
The Bulldogs in danger of giving this ball game away. They led it by 9 just a few minutes ago. And Christian Brothers looking to take the lead here. Their first lead since the first 5 minutes of the ball game, and they only led by 3. An aggressive pass. He'll get his own rebound.
Look at
Nice.
this.
Union trying to play defense, but Christian Brothers hasn't taken a shot yet. They've got 3.
Ruth Satz with the fall away.
Just barely missed that one, but Union won't be able to secure the defensive rebound.
Almost got a steal, and they do.
What about Hawkins there to grab that one out? That is his 6th steal of the ball game. That's a tongue twister for you, the 6th steal of the game.
And Dave Niven's going to take timeout with 84 seconds remaining. That was what you would call a half octopus steal because there were 4 hands that were constantly in his face. And finally, they just managed to time it and snatch it.
How common is the term a half octopus steal?
I don't know because it's the first time I've ever heard it.
Well, we ought to use it more because that really defines succinctly what we saw down there on the floor.
That's right. It was 4 hands that were just going at once. And absolutely, they confused the offensive player so much that he just snatched it right away from him. big play when you've got a 1-point game, and particularly because Christian Brothers was about to have its third opportunity at the basket.
It was, and the Bulldogs have not been able to play defense here in the last few minutes. I won't even say not be able to play good defense. They've barely played defense, and they can't secure rebounds under the basket. They're not able to get any stops, but that one there was huge, and they've got to score here, and that is exactly why Coach David Niven took a timeout.
And here's a big key right now is that each coach has only one timeout remaining. We saw that happen with Christian Brothers really early into the second half. I think it was about 8 minutes left, and he took his next to last timeout. So that's going to be crucial here in this final minute and a half.
This minute and a half is going to define the whole ball game because it's just a 1-point game. It is anybody's game here, but the Bulldogs finished down in Memphis 97-79, your final score. Shanique Lucas with 32 points and 9 rebounds. Jalencia Williams with 24 points, so a great performance from the Lady Bulldogs tonight.
That's absolutely right. Mark's not going to be happy about giving up 79 points. He doesn't like to do that.
Coach Mark Campbell, of course, expects the best from his girls, and he can win a game by 18, but there's always something to work on.
Mark can always find something that we need to work on more, and that's why he has won 670-plus games in his career.
And doing that with just over 100 losses.
Yeah.
Incredible record for one of the all-time great coaches.
All right, here we go.
Bulldogs have to be smart with this possession. Hunter Vick drives, and he gets it to go. He performed so well under pressure.
With 2 defenders challenging him, and he just floated that layup in.
The Bulldogs now with a 3-point lead. That's still one possession, but if they can get a stop here, they're in good shape. 15 to shoot for the Buccaneers.
If you're Christian Brothers, you don't have to go for the 3.
But they will. Oh, my goodness.
32-footer that was.
That almost hit the ceiling. The arc on that was incredible, and it looked like St. Louis out here, a giant arc here in the Fred DeLay.
Now watch this. They're going to give a little bit of pressure back in the backcourt.
A great play to tie up the game. Of course, the Bulldogs have to score here because either way, Christian Brothers is going to have about 25 seconds to shoot. DeBuck will get him to fall, and he'll get that shot.
And half the gym was all as one rising.
The crowd loved that one. They're excited, but they can't be too comfortable. There's about a second between the game and shot clock, and Union only leads it by 2.
All right, again, the question is, are they going to play for a 3 or a 2?
They're driving in. They'll get that one to fall off the hands of Luce. He's got 16.
Niven's telling them to hurry up and get it down there so they can call a timeout.
They'll take that timeout with 7.9 on the clock.
Let's keep it right here.
The Bulldogs didn't expect this one to be so close, and particularly not the fans that just looked at the record of these two teams, because Christian Brothers, a team that's only won 2 on the season, and the Bulldogs have only lost 6. They've won 10. So,
well, as we pointed out, some of this tonight had a lot to do with the fact that you're looking at a team that they know they're not going to the postseason, but they're playing with house money. So what have they got to lose? And they could play spoiler in this conference. Here we are at 66 all, and a big factor is they've continued to challenge Union on the boards. Union with only a 23-22 edge. And then a big factor also is the fact that the Bulldogs have only managed 31% in three-pointers, whereas Christian Brothers has 43%.
That's an important stat line there. And, of course, the rebound game very close. It's 22 for Christian Brothers and 23 for Union. But here in the last few minutes, almost all of the rebounds have gone to the Buccaneers.
All right, here's your ball game.
They've got one chance to do it. Who will they trust with the shot? Hawkins is getting clamped up, and that ball will go out of bounds. They say there's 1.6 on the clock.
Somebody just did not communicate on that, and I think we got overtime coming.
It sure looks like it here, but Christian Brothers will take a timeout, and they've got 1.6 seconds to try and score. Of course, Union's likely going to do a full court press.
See, the difference in what you have in men's ball and what you have in women's ball, because in the final 2 minutes of the game, in women's ball, if something like that were to happen, you would get the ball down at your end of the floor. And that's one of the rule changes that we had 4 years ago when we went to the quarters in women's basketball. I think that makes, now, of course, Union fans tonight would not want to see that, but I happen to think that makes the game very exciting to be able to get the ball down on your end of the floor.
It does, because then they would actually have a chance here. 1.6 is really not enough time to get all the way to the other side of the floor and put up a shot. But we talked about it earlier. The quarter system is what needs to come for the NCAA men's basketball.
The big thing that you have to look at here is if you're Union, you don't want to commit a foul in this case. You got a foul to waste, but you don't want to commit it and have them throw it up from the back end of the floor, and suddenly you're giving up a 3-shot foul.
Union just going to play this one easy, and they'll get a shot.
Yeah!
Oh, my goodness. Christian Brothers with the game-winning shot there from Roostat. He's played incredible tonight.
And Dave Niven had no choice but to go over, and he really took his hat off to Christian Brothers when he saw that. That goes down as one of the great thriller finishes that we've ever seen, even though it was the opposing team doing it. What a shot to finish it.
Roofstat has played incredible all day for the Christian Brothers team, and what a shot there. Banks in the 3 from deep outside the arc.
And what a play. You toss it in, and that has to be precision to get it right. We're going to keep it right here and then take the game out at the end, so we're not going to go to a commercial break. But look at how that ball has to be perfectly thrown, and you work on things like that in practice on situations like this. It was not a fluke play, and then it was almost like watching the old hook and lateral play in football. He dishes it off to Rusatz, who happens to be right place at right time, and you just got to have luck to get that ball to go in and bank in for a 3.
Well, they had luck all night long. They struggled in the first half, and they were down 9, but a big win here. They win this one by 3. What an incredible shot from Roostat. I'm still shook up from the way that he was able to get that one to fall.
This is, again, what you talk about, coming in and playing with house money, because there was absolutely nothing for them to lose, and now it puts even more pressure on Union tomorrow to have to win against this team that will be 3-10, Union now 10-7. They have to win tomorrow to guarantee themselves a home court game in the tournament next Tuesday night.
And it's going to be difficult for the Bulldogs to win tomorrow night, because they, coming off tonight, very upset about this one. They were leading by as much as 9, and then suddenly they lose on a game winner to the shortest player out there on the court.
Well, he had what I think was probably a career game for him tonight, because if you look at him, and I'm going to go ahead, if you will, because of that and also his total gameplay, Rusatz will be our player of the game tonight. I think there's no doubt about it, because, and then to put the exclamation point to get that miracle shot that he had, and that was from about, I'm looking at as the crow flies out here, it's probably about 30 feet out where he hit that one. But the key thing in something like that, and this is what you have to consider when you are a defender. Union had a foul to waste, and they probably could have fouled the player who caught the ball, and not, probably we would have been in overtime right now. But you're in a situation like that, and suddenly you don't have any thought that that guy's going to put one up from 30 feet out and it banks in.
Well, he hit a big one in the corner earlier. He hit 3 threes tonight, but the big one in the corner, if you remember, Steve, was over the head of J.C. Hawkins.
Yeah.
And, of course, they didn't think he'd make another one like that, but this one was even more impressive.
Well, this is one of those things that you just have to do it and make sure it's going to get work, and you're going to be all together here. And I think we got to get out of here.
We do, and an exciting finish here at the Fred DeLay, and I'm Alexander Bitterling. He's Steve Beverly. What a game as Christian Brothers wins this one 69-66.
Be here at 2:45 tomorrow.
It's going to be another great game between these two teams, but it is time for us to get out, and it's going to be, of course, a great showcase tonight at the end of this for the 15-minute feature. I'm Alexander Bitterling. He's Steve Beverly. This is E+ TV 6.
Hello, everybody. I'm Steve Beverly. Over 25 years as the lead voice of Union University basketball on television, I was often asked, is there one game that stood out above the rest in my memory? Yes, I had the opportunity to call 5 national championship games for the Union Lady Bulldogs, but there's still one that even above those games stands out in my memory as a broadcaster's dream. The 1997 Trans-South Conference Championship game, Union against Freed-Hardeman. The Lady Bulldogs coming in with every reason to believe that they had a chance to pull off a national championship at the end of the season. But a Freed-Hardeman team being led by a young Dale Neal, who was just in his 3rd season of coaching, Lady Lions team that in the past mediocrity had been acceptable. No more. They were ready to be on a level playing field with Union. And you're going to see one of the most thrilling finishes ever. From my mind, in all the years I called Union basketball, it was the most thrilling finish ever. We're going to pick up the action in this championship game for the Trans-South Conference with 24 seconds left in regulation. Union with the great Michelle Street and Amy Griffin, Casey Knott. And on the other side of the coin, you look at Freed-Hardeman with players like a Miss Basketball and Kara Sanders and the senior Jennifer Burkeen Showers. It's a game I love to relive over and over, and I hope you enjoy these closing moments.
24 seconds. Let's watch it. Sanders working on Griffin. 20 seconds. You'll see the clock. Union, a critical defensive move. 13 seconds left. Sanders, Griffin is on her, the freshman. 8 seconds. Sanders works one-on-one. She fires. It's short. Street with 2, with 1. She doesn't know how much time's left. We're going to overtime. We are going to overtime. They get a standing ovation. Let's take timeout. It's been like watching a showdown in Dodge City. The key point as we start overtime, foul trouble. Kiana Elam is out for Freed-Hardeman. Jennifer Showers, Christina Evans, Heather Douglas, all with 4. But Freed-Hardeman with the tap. They weren't exactly sure which goal to go toward. Now they are. Stewart with it. Union only with 2 players in foul trouble, 3 each for Rose Anoon and for Dion Thornton. Long one across the court to Sanders. She works on Knott. Screen for the 3. Short. Way, way short by Douglas. They'll scramble for it. Held ball. Who gets it? Union.
Another important key is that the starters that are out there right now played pretty much the entire second half and really exerted a lot of effort. So whichever team can reach down and play on adrenaline for this extra session is probably going to be the team that takes the cake tonight.
And again, Michelle Street, 37 points in regulation. A performance like none I have ever seen her have. The most brilliant performance by a Union player in the entire time I have broadcasted for them. 4.5 to go. It is Griffin with it. Going to Street. She turns. Hits it! It's Street with 39. 71-69.
Almost tongue-in-cheek, you mentioned she may have to have a 40-point night, and lo and behold, she's held you to it. 39 points for Michelle Street.
4:07 left. They work with the Showers, and Thornton will be called for her 4th, and Dion didn't like it.
Yeah, but that may not have been quite as bad of a foul as it looks. That if Dion really over-pursued defensively, and had they not called the foul, Showers had a wide-open lane to the basket.
Well, Showers has never played exceptional ball against Union simply because she's usually had too much height over her. But I think 11 points in regulation has been a great game for her. 12 points she now has. It's 71-70. So that makes 4 fouls for Thornton. Showers gets the second. We're tied again at 71. Griffin screaming to get back down the floor. Nobody was helping out. Almost a terrible mental lapse for Union. Under 4 minutes. We are in overtime. Here on WLJT's Pledge Drive. And Street loses it.
Bad pass that time by Lori Love, and good defensive anticipation by Showers.
Just could not get it into it. Union has its 5 starters on the floor. A chance for Freed to take the lead. Once again, Union had a 9-point, almost a travel by Evans. Union had a 9-point lead in the second half. Freed had a 6-point lead. Showers fires it up too hard, but the rebound, who's going to get it? Not gets it finally into Thornton.
Union doing a much better job of pursuing those rebounds, fighting to the last second for every one of them.
Love gets in the street, she's fouled. And I think that's 5 on Christina Evans. And she knew it.
Yeah, and she's been guarding Michelle Street for the duration of the second half, so now they're going to have to change their defensive assignment. It'll really be interesting to see what Coach Neal does defensively, as he's going to bring Andrea Boyd into the game off the bench, probably put her on Michelle Street.
But Evans, you can't say enough. She's getting a big hand, a brilliant game, 17 points, 11 of them in the second half. A marvelous, marvelous contest for her. It is Street now to the line. 39 points. A chance for the first 40-point game in this decade for a Union player. There. Unbelievable performance. The all-time high for a Union player is 44, but that's meaningless for Michelle Street if they do not win this conference championship. In and out and in. 73-71. Lady Bulldogs not going to press. Oh, my goodness gracious. It's been a long time since the Cows came in and gave us one like this. 3 minutes to go. Boyd feeds into Showers, who tips it but gets it through on the bank. So Showers now with 15 points. We're tied again at 73.
Nice interior passing that time. Boyd setting up Showers for the easy lay-in.
To Knott, who drives the baseline, pops it up, too much. She tried the ice cream scoop, didn't work. Rebound to Douglas. Still plenty of time, 2:37. But neither team wants to lose the momentum when it's tied. It's back outside to Stewart. They don't want to leave him open for a three. Instead, they go to Showers, who fires too much on it. And it's going to be Griffin called for the foul. An over-the-back call on Meg Griffin.
Freed Hardeman now with a chance to take the lead from the strike.
And they're doing it with 2 of their big guns out on fouls. It's Misty Stewart. They've held her to 6 tonight, but she's deadly from the free throw line. Got that one. Freed is back ahead, 74-73.
We talked about the mental game and the adrenaline going to have to take over. Freed Hardeman battling every time that ball goes up for the offensive rebound, and it's paid dividends all night long for the Lady Lions.
Lady Lions could go back up by 2, and they do. 75-73. Union again going for win number 31. The 10th conference championship in David Blackstock's career. They go to Thornton. Back to Street, who drives the middle, pops it in and out. That one really hurts Union because Freed's going to shave some time off now. Sanders with her 7th rebound, 12 points. What a time for it not to fall. 148, 147, 146. The place has been spent of all of its emotional energy tonight. 8 on the shot clock. It's Douglas who fires and forces it. Who gets it? It's Street. Let's see if she can take it all the way. She may. She's going to work. She drives. She's fouled. And I don't believe I've ever seen any more emotion than I've seen in Michelle Street tonight. You can see it in her face.
She's played with a lot of heart tonight. I know she's tired. She's played probably the past 20 minutes of the second half and all this little quarter here, and I don't know. I'm just as nervous as I can be for her.
Let's watch it. Once again, 42 points for Michelle Street.
And that's a big one because you can tell by looking, she is just about physically drained. She is playing solely on emotion and heart right now. Big free throws for Michelle.
This one to tie. And she does. Unbelievable. 43 points, Michelle Street. But still, we are only tied. Who would have ever believed with this kind of performance that Union would still only be in a tie ball game with this leadership from Michelle Street? Almost open for the three was Douglas. She drives the middle, off her foot. Union gets it, a key turnover. The Creed fans are furious. The Union fans imploring their Lady Bulldogs to take it to the hoop. 1:10 to go. It's Griffin. All the months of practice that started back in October and November. They go to Thornton, who puts it up. No, but Street is there, yes! Street puts it back through. 45 points, a new Union record. 77-75. It's Sanders, the money player now for Freight Arteman. 44 to go. They cannot leave them open for a three. Sanders will work on Griffin. 12 on the shot clock. 35 seconds left. Douglas blocked by Thornton. 5 on the shot clock. No good. The air ball out of bounds. Union will have it. They are going nuts at Brett DeLay. They have to guard against a three-point shot or a rough foul. They'll back off. Watch the clock in the corner. 20 seconds left. It's Sanders. She's tops. It's blocked by Griffin. What a play by Meg Griffin. But still 16 seconds remain.
The freshman stepping up big. 2 free throws to put it a 4-point lead, and now the defensive stop on Sanders.
16 seconds to go. Here we go. Stewart to toss it in. They go to Sanders, who tries the three. Way short. Thornton with the rebound. They go to Griffin. And a foul from behind with 11 seconds remaining. Griffin had a clear shot at it.
Wow, 2 big blocks by Meg that time on the defensive end, and now a chance to put this one away.
The freshman, Meg Griffin, who at the start of this season was not a starter, but has played so brilliantly all season. Watch the shot. I can't believe some people are leaving. It's there. Griffin makes it 80-75. Their standing is 1 at Brett DeLay. Watch the next one. They've got it. It would take a miracle, but there are 8 seconds remaining. Watch for the three. Stewart with 5, with 4, with 3, 1. No good. The Lady Bulldogs are the Grand South Conference champions. Let's go down on the floor.
As I told you, this game was a broadcaster's dream. You could not ask for anything more. A completely full and overflowing Fred DeLay Gymnasium. 2 teams that were intense rivals, only 20 miles apart, and yet they were giving everything they had and leaving it all on the floor. And then Michelle Street with a record-shattering 45 points in a game in which they needed every single one of them for Union to win it in overtime, 81-75. That Lady Bulldog team fell just short of the national championship in the title game against Southern Nazarene. But I can tell you, this game that you just saw in overtime is a memory for every single one of those Lady Bulldogs and for this broadcaster. I'm Steve Beverly. Join us again for some more sports memories here on E+ TV6.